In the studio with me is our Mayor, Tony Lepper. And Tony, you're going to be coming to visit us nice and regularly because, and to bring the listeners up to date with what's going on. Now, you just recently had a council meeting.
Thanks, Bill, and I think that's the format that we'd like to use, is that when we have a council meeting, we like to try and get the information out to the public, and we try to do it as many ways as possible, and one of them is through your fantastic local radio station.
Well, lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what were the main things handled at the council meeting this month?
Yeah, the last council meeting was all about, these are terms people have got to get used to. So we have a long-term plan which covers 10 years, but every one of those 10 years is broken down into an annual plan. So this council meeting was about this year's annual plan, and of course that will affect what our rates go up this year.
Right.
During the last 10 days, we've gone around all the community boards who set their own budgets, and then we bring them all to council who set their budget. You add all those up, and that's what your rates increases will be.
So the community board actually sets its own. They set a budget for their own area.
Yes, they do.
That's not They're not directed as such.
No, they're not directed at all. And 2 years ago, that budget could have been extremely large. In fact, it was 54% of what we spent because they had control of their own three waters: wastewater, stormwater and water. But now that comes under council budgets. So now your community boards are down to things like parks, memorial halls, footpaths, those things that are really, really local. So That budget's not quite as big as it used to be, but they certainly do control that, and we don't tell them how much they can spend. I go around saying I would like our rates increases never to exceed 5%. That's a self-imposed rates cap by me. And of course they could wreck that for me, but I go to their meetings and I preach the message. So when we combine all those rates, which we've just done at that last council meeting, it's coming out somewhere between 3.5-4%. That will be consulted on. There'll be some documents go out to the public, and that should hold. And the only one of the community boards that came up with a project that was bigger than what we had signalled in our long-term plan was Cromwell, who's going to spend quite a bit more money on their memorial hall. I think the cost of that's gone from something like $2 million to maybe $4 million. But there actually won't be a rates cost of that because they're in the process of selling some land, and that some of the proceeds of that land sale will go to improving the memorial hall. So that's a big budget item, but something that's not really rated for, but it's something that we have to consult on because that's what we're going to talk about.
Okay, yeah. That doesn't seem to be okay. I may be wrong, but that doesn't seem to be a very high lift in the rates.
There's other areas around New Zealand and locally who are less than that. They're on the 0 to 1%,
right.
But we think 3 to 4% is what we have to spend because remember, the major items that the new increases in spending are all about infrastructure. They're about new water for Alexandra, new wastewater for Cromwell, possible water sewerage for Clyde, and it's in the 10-year budget. So It's all about those things. And if we want this part of New Zealand to be up-to-date, modern infrastructure, sustainable is what I call it, sustainable into the future for the next 50 years, we've got 10 years of 3 to 4% rates increases.
Okay. Well, but at the end of that, we'll have a sound and robust infrastructure.
Absolutely, and I reckon 50 years worth of infrastructure, which is about what you can plan for. And we're set up, as I keep saying to everyone, a lot of people say to me, Tony, what are you spending on sustainability? And I say, I am getting our wastewater systems up so it's not. It never was rural sewerage, but it was some overflow into the Clutha River and things like that. That all goes to the ground when we're finished with this, and the standard of the wastewater that gets finally disseminated out into our planet is of a standard you can almost drink, but people probably wouldn't. So that's sustainability into the future. Right. Fixing our water supplies so they meet drinking standards that are accepted all over this country. That's all about sustainability. I think we're setting Central up for the future, and I think the rates increases we've got, while they might hurt some people, we need them and they're affordable.
Okay, and we're looking at the district as a whole now, aren't we?
Absolutely, and that's one of the good things that we did by districtising all those water systems and wastewater systems. We're reading, and we're going to read in the next couple of weeks about a couple of exciting new projects in Cromwell. Well, anyone living in central Otago benefits from new people moving into our district no matter where they go.
Absolutely.
And if they go into Cromwell, well, yay for us, because they're helping to pay for anything else. And if in 5 years' time they all go into Roxburgh, we go yay again, because it's all part of Central Otago. And that's one of the things we're kind of proud of, that we've sort of brought it all together.
Good. Yeah. Excellent. What else happened?
So that was mainly the community board. It was all about budgets, boring, figures. So we'll be consulting with the public on that over the next couple of weeks. It'll be a really skinny document. So we won't be expecting too much interest in that, but it's a process we go through. So that's about all on council. But I'll tell you what, who we had here last week. We had the Local Government Commission come in, and we invited all the elected members from Otago. That's community board peoples from Queenstown, Dunedin, Clutha, Waitaki, all over. We probably had 40 elected members there. And the Local Government Commission, these are the guys who can decide, I'm going to amalgamate 2 or 3 different councils. You know, they've done it, tried to do it in Hawke's Bay, tried to do it in Wellington. They were successful in Auckland. And they've sort of changed their approach now. They're saying, okay, that doesn't go down very well anymore, but we would like you maybe to amalgamate everyone's waters and roading systems and things like that.
Right.
And they've got a whole fresh attitude where they want to listen to us as opposed to tell us what to do.
Well, that's nice.
And it was really good. They got a bit of stick, to be perfectly honest, from some of those elected members, a few of the older ones who think a bit differently. But it was really good to see them down here listening to locally elected people and saying, well, what do you think? And they were told what we thought, which is it's going all right. But, you know, there's still change you can think about.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now, talking of just a quick one on roading, I see there's quite a little bit of resealing going on. Now, the resealing that's going on up to, say, for example, the top of Centennial Ave, that's transit, is it?
Yep, anything on a state highway is transit. They've funded 100%. Yep.
Okay. Yep. And the council funds the off that?
Yeah, the minute you get off a state highway, which is usually the main road through your town, council pays for that. But remember, once again, it's a 50-50. Our subsidy is 51% from transit. So there's some 51% of the dollars come in from the big government pot, and the rest is ours. So it's a 50-50 deal as well.
Okay. Quick local question. Is it going to be pedestrian crossing at the top?
They said that they would put in traffic calming, which is
done that.
Which has done that, and they would monitor that and see what happens.
Okay.
So hats off to those couple of young ladies who bailed me up originally in the garage, and then I got them into council, and it just goes to show a bit of pressure in the right place.
Yes.
So they're monitoring that, and if they think there's a need, then it's easy to paint the white lines because all the other stuff's in.
Everything. Is there a lot of problem with roads and things after water like we had? It was pretty bad.
Yeah, no, that's interesting because that was about an inch rainfall effect. I had some flooding out in Ernstcleugh, and I was out working on that. I found our Fulton Hogan contractor who was going through Clyde at that stage, and there were 2 or 3 hot spots, including Trish's place. There was another place in Centennial Avenue where a lady's property had water going through it, and there were some concerns there. And I was very impressed that our contractors knew all of those events while they're on the road, and they were going out to do stuff about it. We were reassured that by the morning when we had our debrief, that staff had been on site at all those places. The likes of Trish's, Fulton Hogan had been there. The lady in Centennial Avenue, one of our building inspectors of all people, came down and sat with her while her relatives arrived. So we sort of know the hot spots, and Central isn't designed for an inch of rain.
No,
and
it's not.
We get 1 or 2 a year, and we always sort of know where the problems are going to be, and you can't design it to stop those problems.
No.
They just happen. Yeah.
Okay. And you can only get onto them as fast as you've got the facilities and the resources available.
Yeah, that's right.
There's no magic.
No, there's no magic. Someone has to do the job. So it's usually signs out while it's raining and cleaner up in the morning. And the likes of the footpath and Let Scully, I mean, I'm sure it'll be programmed somewhere, but of course someone should have got back to Trish. Yep.
And you're batching at the moment?
Yeah, I'm batching. So I was just going to say that while I'm focusing on council, every half hour I'm checking the computer just to see where that lovely wife of mine is. Yeah. She's somewhere just out of Taramanui, heading into one of the deepest and darkest parts of the middle of the central of the North Island. Of course, she's on the bike doing that length of New Zealand race.
Yes. Yeah.
She's covered something like 800 kilometres in her first 6.5 days, and we're expecting her back here in 22 to 23 days' time.
I haven't got any sticky questions for you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be doing this every month, so if you do have things that you would like to raise with Tony, you can in fact get on to communications@codc.govt.nz, and on that email you can email your concerns through, and we will have a chat about them next time we hear from Tony. Thank you so much for being on the program this morning, and we'll see you soon.